All right. I don't promise that I did this correctly, but we're going to give it a shot here. Okay. All right. So thank you for checking out this live stream. If you're watching it live, if you're watching on the replay, thank you as well. So what we're going to do today is we're going to cover the Super 8 2022 finals, which for my taste was the greatest match in the Super 8 history. I said that literally as it was happening, and I reiterated that to both the people in the match after it was over. I also put it on social media out there so it would be out there forever. So the way I did it is a little different. I'm gonna minimize my big fat head here. And I'll put myself behind this screen here. Now, typically my the live streams, we don't get a lot of people on here. More people watch after the fact. But if you do happen to jump on, just let me know if my audio sounds okay. I did something a little different than normal, so if it sounds off or anything like that, please let me know. So the screens look a little weird. The reason I did that was I was planning on maybe involving more people in this, but I figured I'll just do the first pass by myself, kind of give my opinion, my take, and then we'll come back to it because this is a match you can watch more than once. All right, so with that, we're going to get started. If you watch the top right corner there, that will be the actual feed that went out to the audience. The other camera, or to the anybody watching at home during the broadcast, I believe this was on IWTV. If not, it was on our YouTube channel for ECWA. And the camera you see to my whatever next to me, that's our camera that's backstage, and we really never post that anywhere. I've included it on this channel because it's a more of a behind the scenes channel, and the only thing I've ever really done is time lapse. I've never really put it on in real time here, so this is the first time anybody's going to be seeing this. I did take the audio off of the video here because with the commentators and everything going on, the crowd and all that, it would get a little distracting between hearing me ramble on and then hear the crowd cheering and all that stuff. It would get confusing, I think. But if you do have a chance, I would suggest going to the ECWA YouTube account and watching this match with the crowd also, just to kind of get a better feel of it, because the crowd is really that extra person in the match. They really help make it. And one thing we're seeing right now is behind the scenes, all the goons, so to speak, are kind of hyping up Erica while Darius is making his entrance. If you caught it, Darius, I believe, ripped up a sign on the way out, and I don't think we ever even acknowledged this outside of the moment when it happened, because this match ended up being so good. This is just one of those things that fell to the wayside. We totally forgot about. But a lot of people think everything in wrestling is scripted from start to finish. There was certainly no plan for Darius to go out there. And one of the things I had Erica do was bring out a shirt to give to the kid whose sign got ripped or whatever. I don't know if it was a sign or just something of his got destroyed because Darius is a bad guy. So to further cement Erica as the good guy, she came out and gave one of the kids something. And you can see there, Erica just has that look of like, this is my moment, this is my night. And it certainly was. I mean, even though Darius in the end would win the match, I often say sometimes you can get more from a loss than you can a win. And I think that's true of Erica, at least on this night it was. And like I said, the whole thing with the shirt was just something we called because I saw that the kid's sign got ripped. So I said, hey, let's do something out there and make something happen. Hey, I'm going to run a new promotion show on August 14th, live on YouTube. Got any tips? Yeah, practice. The live streams never go to plan. Have redundancy in every single thing you do. So like with backups, record locally to the camera, record the stream itself, and then have the backup feed on YouTube as well. So you'll basically have the same files in 3 locations. there's some kind of a saying where like one is none and two is some when it comes to backups. So back up as much stuff as you can. Test all that stuff out. Test every possible scenario you possibly can before you get to the venue, because everything that can go wrong will. I promise you that. And so, like, for me, growing up, I've loved wrestling my whole life. Ever since I don't even know what age I was. I can't fathom a time. I can't remember a time where wrestling wasn't involved in my life. I basically learned to read from wrestling magazines growing up, and reading about the Super 8 and ECWA. I mean, I don't think I went to Delaware till I was like a teenager, maybe. But I knew Ace Darling. I knew Mr. Ooh La La. You know, I knew all these guys, and I sure as hell knew about the Super 8. So the fact that this was, at this point, I think this was my third men's Super 8. And to be able to be a part of this 26-year lineage, I can't tell you what that means to me as a wrestling fan, to me as a wrestling promoter, to me as a wrestling booker, whatever you want to call it. It's just... It's something you don't ever get sick of thinking about. And I almost think, I apologize, my chair is squeaking because I'm gonna be antsy during this. You almost get the feeling that both of these people know the weight and the history behind this tournament, and I don't know that that's true. I haven't spoke to either of them. If you look on the backstage camera, you'll see I'm already out. I'm already out there watching it live because I wanted to just kind of feel the atmosphere that was going on. And I mean, I think both Darius and Erica are going to move on to bigger and better things in the coming years. But I hope, as I imagine a lot of people who were on the lower level, the independent level, I hope that they'll look back at their time in a match like this with a lot of fondness and great memories. Because I know people who currently are in WWE and currently in AEW, and you know, we had been on independent shows together, or they had been on my independent shows, 15 years ago. And when we meet up, invariably, we always talk about the good old days. We don't talk about WrestleMania. Some of these people have been on WrestleMania. We don't talk about WrestleMania. We don't talk about Full Gear or All In or All Out. We talk about the show in front of 15 fans in Jackson, New Jersey, on a random Sunday. So I hope that Darius and Erica and everybody who was involved in this tournament, everybody who's involved in independent wrestling, I hope they enjoy it for all that it is. And I know there's always that excitement of getting to the next level and getting somewhere new. But I hope they don't miss out on the journey, because in the end, that's really what it's all about. Another thing we were supposed to have happen on this, we were going to have Mike Keener, Jim Molyneux, and John Finnegan. And Jim Molyneux actually got COVID, so he couldn't make this show. But I think it was going to be the first time since like the ECW shows, like the reunion shows, that those three would have been on the same card together. So I was bummed we couldn't make that work, but hopefully one day in the future we'll be able to make that happen. And I think there's a cool atmosphere that we've started to build with these shows just on the walls, because you look at the walls and it's truly the ghost of ECWA past, right? I mean, people who are still there and people who aren't, and people who aren't even, here anymore. And I think that's really cool. And it's, at times for me, it's overwhelming when you think of everywhere that ECWA has been or everywhere it's gone. And then to now be a part of that is pretty cool. And, same thing with the two people in the ring right now. I hope, I hope they consider ECWA part of their story as their careers move on. And you could just see that the crowd was just, I don't know if it's coming through without the audio, but I mean, they didn't they didn't shut up during this match. I know it looks like some people are just sitting there, but if you actually watch this, the kids were so invested in Erica, and you got to remember that feeling of being a wrestling fan and wanting your favorite to win and feeling like in some small way that you were a part of their success. Somebody had posted recently about long shows, because some of these independent shows go on forever. Even with the Super 8, which is 9 to 10 matches, we're done in 2 hours and 15 minutes with an intermission, because I just hate long shows. And we still, you see, all those chairs were filled. We don't leave empty chairs out. When people buy their tickets, we put the chairs out, and then after intermission, we just kind of let it go. But every single chair that's out was paid for, and then you see that people leave during the show and everything like that. Some of these families, they got younger kids and stuff, so they don't want to be out past 9, so I get it. But you see some of these shows that they go 3 hours and then there's intermission, and there's like nobody left after that. And that happens everywhere, right? It happens at WWF. I know when I used to go to WWF shows with my dad, he'd want to bail before the main event to beat traffic. It's just one of those things, right? I believe these two had worked a couple matches before here. So I'm sure they were familiar with each other, but our crowd and the people who typically come to our shows are not independent wrestling experts by any means. They don't follow most of it. It's really about this night. And I don't know if you can see on the top left hand, all the goons are just kind of lined up in their Erica shirts. So as much crap as they give Erica, they're really a supportive bunch. So this was, I believe this was the 26th year of the Super 8. So this year will be the 27th, if I got my numbers correct. And Erica, if I haven't pointed it out, was the first female to ever compete in the Super 8, let alone, make it to the finals, which, that in of itself is a cool story and all that. But you wouldn't believe some of the headaches, and the crap I've gotten from people on the internet because of that decision. In fact, as recent as, was it yesterday? As recent as yesterday, somebody who used to work for ECWA and somebody who used to work my shows when I was doing World 1, somebody I've been trying to get back into wrestling for a number of years, told me they would not come back in because we put a female in the main event. In 2023, this is still happening. So I think a lot of companies have made a lot of strides. I think we still have a long way to go with some of that, but I mean, opinions are opinions, and that's the way it goes. Needless to say, I will not be attempting to book that individual anymore. And I believe I was the last person attempting to book that person, so no great loss. But you can see, as the match kind of started, right, everybody's kind of clearing their stuff up and getting ready to go. And as it's going on, the backstage area and everybody's gathering around the monitor back there and paying attention to this. And if there's anybody who happens to be watching this that is an independent wrestler, that's so important. Not only does that make you look better to the promoter and the booker or whoever, you learn from that. There's a reason why these two were selected to be in the main event. So there's something to be learned, whether this person has more experience or not. Both this guy and this girl might have less or more experience than you. It doesn't matter. They're in the main event. They were selected to be in the main event for a reason. What is that reason? And your job as a wrestler is to sit down and try to figure out what that reason is and what you can do to get to that same level. Did he just jump and sit on her? Like, I think I've watched this match once after, and I don't typically watch current wrestling, so I haven't gone back and watched this. This is the first time I'm seeing it since I edited it the night after it streamed, or 2 days after, whatever it was. So this is kind of fun for me. I'm getting to watch it as a fan pretty much, because it's almost a year now removed, so I'm getting to kind of watch it as a fan. We actually had Darius scheduled to be at, I want to say it was our following show, or maybe it was 2 shows later, or something like that. And he was going to be coming from a show in Staten Island, I believe. But as the night went on, I realized I hadn't heard from him. And, now it's time for the main event. And I finally was like, oh, let me message him. Because we were like 15 minutes away from the main event at this point. And then I finally checked, like right as the last match finished, and saw that he was stuck. His plane was delayed or something like that, and he wasn't going to make it. So Erica, who just had this crazy match, it was all blown up, and I found out later, like, she was battling an injury at that point. I just looked at her and I was like, hey, can you work another match? Because I don't have anybody else. And I mean, I had other people, had other bodies, but nobody had been built up like Erica, who had just won the women's Super 8 at that point, and she was a finalist here. It was the perfect story. I mean, I wanted that story to go on for another year before we landed there, but circumstances dictated that it happened that night. And I know it's not coming across, well, maybe it is. You see the kids jumping around like maniacs, but like the crowd was so invested in this. And I say the crowd is in like the people sitting in the chairs, but I really mean the people in the back too. Were just as into it. I'm gnawing on the hammer right now. I don't know why. That's a legit hammer. But yeah, you can see people in the back are just clapping, cheering it on. Like it's not the stress of wondering who's gonna win, right? Because I don't think anybody there knew. I knew, because we don't write it down who's gonna win. So I knew who was going over. None of these guys did. So I wasn't stressed about that. What I get stressed about is this match is going so well, but it only takes that one thing to really screw it up and make it not that perfect match. That's what's in my head, is I'm worrying about the one thing that could go wrong and make the match not as good. And what was they said something about Michael Jordan was that he could only think in the present. Like he couldn't worry about the shot before he took it. He just had to take it. And that's what made him great. And I think that's what makes, wrestlers like Erica and Darius great. They just kind of do it. They don't think about, well, should I do this or should I do that? And again, you see, his dad's like patting his kid on the back, like, because they're genuinely like nervous Erica's gonna lose. And there was part of me, as a booker, you're watching this and like, this crowd wants Darius to lose so bad and Erica to win so bad. Do I just go out there and switch it? Do I just tell? I mean, I could walk out there, and I've done it before. I've done it with other matches where I change my mind in the middle of the match. And I could go out there and tell Finnegan, hey, swap the finish. And that's all it takes. And then the reason I didn't hear is because that's not Erica's story. Erica's story is not that she wins on the first attempt. And that's all I want to say about it, I think, because I don't want to give too much away, even though this is kind of a behind the scenes thing. But I think you can read between the lines what I'm getting at. And I know you can't see it, but right next to where the guy with the suspenders right there, with the orange suspenders, there's more people back there watching this match. There's other people that are outside of the field of view of that camera that are watching this match. Like, everybody back there was into it. Once I realized they weren't going home immediately, I went back out to watch the match. When I saw this, I was like, "Oh shit, am I?" Yeah, you can see I'm running back there. So I'm like, "This could be it here." Not that was going to be the finish, but I think we could be getting somewhere, getting close to the finish, and definitely a little panic because I was carrying the hammer for some reason. I didn't just leave it at the table. So the guy doing the live stream is Will Strauss. He's doing the live stream for us on this. But typically for our shows, I'll actually do the live stream. I'll do the microphone audio. I'll do the music. I'll do the bell, and then I'm also adjusting the show, which is a tremendous pain and it takes a lot of focus and attention. And I always love it when a wrestler comes up to me as their music is hitting and going, "Hey, can you play this song for me instead?" Meanwhile, I've been sitting at this desk all day and nobody thought to ask me. But right now, when they're about to go out, they're trying to ask me. And and she didn't tell anybody about this. It was just like one of those little things that Erica does that's funny. And if you're not familiar with her, in the build up to it, she kept calling the Super 8 the Pooper 8. And that's just kind of part of her character, which endears her to all the kids. Like my kids love it because kids like poop. It's it's one of those things. That also got a great reaction. The head to the post there, and you can see even more people are around the monitor now. And like I said, I got my camera blocking some of the view there, but behind the guy in the orange suspenders is just another set of people all in the back there. Both people who participated in the tournament, people who are there kind of just hanging out. And then you also have a number of them watching in the crowd too. And I mean, what a great match. Just, I'm not sure what Finnegan, so I would have loved to have Finnegan on here to ask him what he was saying to Erica in that moment. But he definitely was telling her, awesome job. I'm fixing my draws. Killian was saying something there, and I don't remember what it was. It was something funny, though. It was something, because there had been some kind of drama on Twitter or something where, women couldn't do what guys did. Something to that effect, and that's what he was getting at. And that's where you could kind of see what that moment meant to Darius, which I think is genuine, honestly. He's talked about the Super 8 a number of times since then. He still promotes the Super 8, which I think is awesome. And that match meant a lot to him, and that trophy meant a lot to him, which is good. I mean, that's what you want. I think it would have meant just as much or more to Erica, but Erica got there in the end when she won the Women's Super 8. Just the little heel things, right? Are they trying to find a microphone right now? It looks like Bob is back there looking for a microphone. Sweet Reginald found one. He handed it to me and I handed it right back. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going out there. Again, Erica lost the match, but did she really? Like, is that actually a loss when you think about it? Like, what she would have gained would have been a trophy, but in that loss, I think she gained a lot more, honestly, in the eyes of everybody there and everybody who watched. The guy in the hoodie, I don't know who he is. He showed up that day to wrestle, and he just grabbed onto me for a second ago, and I looked at him, and I just realized, I don't know who you are. And Darius does his promo, kind of crapping on the crowd and all that stuff. And that's good. That's good heel work and stuff. The problem is I've had 3 heels win the Super 8 now. Haven't I? 3, yeah. Every year I've done it. The men's Super 8's been won by a heel. Be interesting to see how that goes this year. Be interesting to see. And I'm saying that like it's a mystery because it is. I don't decide the matches until I get to the building, let alone the finals or the winner. So it's really all about how the night goes, what the crowd's reacting to, what they're into. And you could see I'm running around. I blew my cue there. I forgot to hit his music because I was out there wanting to watch everything. And this is something we don't do. I think we've only done this one other time, but we did it with Ooh La La when he won the title, where everybody was just kind of standing up and applauding. And you could see Ooh La La, one of the first, if not the first person there to greet Erica after the match. And that goes to show you, Ooh La La, who's been wrestling since, I think, the 80s. It's not the time you came into the business that matters. It's how you're able to adapt and grow with it that is important. So for somebody who started in the 80s, certainly, a female being in the main event against a man is probably taboo for most of them. But for those who are able to adapt and change with the times, they see it as the natural progression and the movement of professional wrestling. I think it's going in a different direction. And it's great if you want to be left behind or you want it to be exactly how it was when you were younger. I mean, I too want wrestling sometimes to be exactly how it was in 1997 or 1989. But there's something to be said about where it's headed. And I look at something like this and it's nothing but positive, and we're going in the right direction here, I feel. And again, we just did like the round of applause for Darius as well. I know we're coming to a close here. I think there's just a couple more moments in the back that are kind of cool. Yeah, so I switched it to the main camera because the live stream had gone off the air at this point. And you can really see what it's like after. There's this weird elation. It's probably the endorphins or the energy or whatever. But after a match, I mean, everybody's out of breath a little bit, right? But they're all talking a little louder for some reason. Like there's that excited energy in their voice. And they're talking a little quicker, a little louder than they have been the entirety of the day. And it's just what wrestling does for everybody involved. It's something that everybody here, in that locker room wanted to do when they were younger, and they're getting to do it, even if it's on a small scale. They're getting to do it and live out their dreams at least for a little while, and that's important. And I think that's one of the things to remember and keep in mind when you're chasing your dreams like that. Like the small victories are, you just get to do it sometimes. It just gets to be fun. It just gets to be, on this night, it just got to be magic, right? Like it was magical. It was a fantastic, and I'm not trying to be corny with that. It was everything that I consider to be right about pro wrestling was done during that match. And maybe not every move was perfect. It might have been. I don't know. I wasn't watching it for that. I'm talking about the way it made people feel, the way it made the fans feel. Super important. and now we're just kind of closing everything out. I'm about to start getting the envelopes together, and Erica actually came over to me. This is when I told Erica that was absolutely the best match in the history of the Super 8. And she thought I was joking, but it was 100% sincere. And I told her later on that I absolutely was not joking, because I know, she's just trying to say thank you and all that, which she doesn't need to thank me. But, okay, and that's it. That's where it ended. So let me blow this back up. Get rid of that. So what did you guys think? Like, what did you guys think of that match? I like I said at the beginning, if you're just jumping on or you're just watching later on, I would implore you to go check it out on the ECWA YouTube channel. Watch it for the live reaction from the crowd. It really adds a whole nother layer, a whole nother dimension to that match. And if you like pro wrestling or love pro wrestling just like I do, it's hard to look at a match like that and not be reminded of why you fell in love with the sport in the first place. Does that make sense? Thank you guys for watching this. And I'm hoping to do more live streams. I don't know if they're really popular, especially at 10 o'clock at night. I have to do it when my kids are asleep, so I apologize. So we'll see how this one goes. I might take this off live in a couple days and just edit it down and upload it as an actual post. But we'll see how it does and what you guys think of it. Leave me a comment down below if you enjoyed this video, if you made it all the way to the end. And I'll see you next week. Actually, we're starting new videos on February 8th. I'm going to be starting... all my new videos start going out every week, and I have them scheduled all the way through August. And I think we're going to try to do a live stream of a World 1 show. I'm going to try to get L.A. Vin, and who's been on this channel before, and Chris Rockwell on the channel, and kind of do like a Zoom session watch along. And if that's something you guys be interested in, just, like I said, let me know in the comments below.